measures. So we shall proceed accordingly and put our questions for tomorrow. And then we proceed to the item at the commencement of government business. Therefore, item 5, presentation of papers. Minister of Finance.
Annual report on the Petroleum Fund for the 2017 fiscal year.
The paper is presented and is referred to the Committee on Finance for consideration and report. Item 6, motion. Minister for Finance. The main business for the day. You, Honorable Minister, we proceed.
The Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members of Parliament, on the authority of the Republic, of the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, I beg to move that this Honorable House approve the financial policy of the Government of Ghana for the year ending 31st December 2018. On the authority of the President and in accordance with Article 179 of the 1992 Constitution, permit me to present to this august House the budget statement and economic policy of the Government of Ghana for the 2018 financial year. Mr. Speaker, what I present to the House today are the highlights of the highlights of the budget statement and economic policy of government for the year 2018. I respectfully request the Hansard Department to capture the full document. I also do submit to this august House the 2017 annual report on the Petroleum Fund in accordance with Section 48 of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act 2011, Act 815, as amended. Mr. Speaker, this year has been a very busy one for all of us. This is the third budget we are presenting in the year. The first one was in March, the second, the media performance review, and now we are presenting the 2018 budget. During this period, we have had the cooperation of this House in passing a number of bills in our determination to put the economy back on a sound footing. On behalf of the President, I wish to thank this august House for all their support. Mr. Speaker, in March, when I presented the Asempa budget, and Matthew 13, I indicated to this House our commitment to take deliberate strategic steps with the required discipline to fix the economy. Such was the crisis that we were expected to do little more than just borrow more to incur more debt, but not for the purpose of growing the economy, but rather for servicing a fast increase in debt. Thankfully, President Akufo-Addo came into office with a positive mindset and inspired all of us to see the invisible, feel the intangible, So President Akufo-Addo, with a positive mindset, inspired us all to see the invisible, to feel the intangible, and to achieve the impossible. I'm happy to note that we have turned the economy around. And our policies are yielding results, restoring hope and bringing relief to Ghanaians. Personally, it is heartwarming when a parent runs up to you. Thank you for putting money in my purse. Because she did not have to pay 2,000 cedis for her 2 daughters in SHS. Or when an excited teacher trainee shows you the text message notification of his allowance received. Yet these are just 2 examples, Mr. Speaker, of the promises some said were impossible to fulfill. Mr. Speaker, we resolve to be fiscally disciplined and respect the limits this august House set for us within appropriation. Again, I'm glad to report that we are well on course to end the year with a fiscal deficit of 6.3% from 9.4%. In fact, lower than the 6.5% contained in the budget in March. If I may add, Mr. Speaker, this is only the second time in a decade that a government has managed to stay within its budget deficit target. Mr. Speaker, a lot has been achieved by the government of President Nana Akufo-Addo, and we have achieved under 1 year what seemed impossible in 8 years. We have restored macro stability. We have renewed confidence in the economy. We have provided reliable electricity supply. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, we have indeed provided reliable electricity supply. And Mr. Speaker, our SHS students have literally forgotten how to spell Doomsaw, because Doomsaw is dead. We have returned to robust growth with a real GDP growth of 7.8% in the first half of 2017 against 2.7% in 2016. We have reduced inflation, and October inflation of 11.6% from 15.4% in December 2016. We have maintained stability of the cedi against the US dollar. We have brought down the policy rate to 21% from a peak of 26% in 2016. There is more, Mr. Speaker. We have normalized the domestic yield curve, issued the country's maiden 15-year bond in April 2017, We have improved external balances driven by higher export earnings and lower imports. We have improved gross international reserve to 7.2 billion, equivalent to 4.1 months of import cover, the highest, Mr. Speaker, international reserves in the country's history. We have improved primary balance to 0.3% surplus in September 2016 against a deficit of 1.6% in September 2016. We have received positive sovereign rating reviews from international rating agencies, Fitch, B stable, Standard & Poor, B- positive. We have successfully completed the 4th IMF ECF program review, and we have achieved positive developments in the oil and gas sector, favorable IFLOS ruling, and Sankofa producing first oil 3 months ahead of schedule. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, our commitment is to solidify these gains for as long as we remain managers of the economy, and that may be a long time. To ensure irreversibility, we are implementing the following measures to tackle some of the long-term structural issues: capping of the statutory funds at 25% of government tax revenue. Thank you very much for your support. Operationalization of the Treasury single account to consolidate all government funds at the Bank of Ghana. Tightening of expenditure controls in GIFMIS to minimize inefficiencies and budget overruns. Strict enforcement of the PFM Act, as well as the Public Procurement Act, to ensure efficiency in public procurement, and adoption of the competitive tender process, which is eliminating wastage and giving Ghanaian taxpayers real value for their money. We have successfully refinanced the first tranche of the energy sector legacy debt through the issuance of the first ever energy bond by Esla PLC. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to announce that this successfully raised 4.7 billion Ghana cedis, over $1 billion, and is now the highest ever energy bond in Africa. We have also introduced the cash waterfall mechanism to prevent new debt accumulating. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud to report to this August House that after a few months of intense preparation, the Akufo-Addo government has rolled out the destiny-changing free senior high school policy across all public schools. To ensure equal opportunity for every Ghanaian child. Mr. Speaker, we have also rolled out the National Digital Property Addressing System to provide launched the National Identification Scheme, and we have indeed restored the teachers and nurses training And we have indeed restored the teachers and nurses training allowances. Mr. Speaker, this year we have restored macroeconomic stability, which is protecting the value of money in the pockets of ordinary Ghanaians and giving businesses the predictability and space to plan and invest, thereby sowing the seeds for economic growth and job creation. The broad agenda for next year is to translate the stability achieved into shared growth with aggressive policies aimed at creating more opportunities for jobs. The President is determined to reverse the trend of the last few years where businesses operated merely and mainly to service loans, pay taxes, and electricity bills. In line with this, for 2018, we will continue to stabilize the economy, offer reliefs, including reducing electricity tariffs, to make the private sector truly competitive and create more employment. Our job creation agenda will be driven by investments in human capital, strategic infrastructure, agriculture and agribusiness, entrepreneurship, and innovation programs. Specifically, we will vigorously continue with and heavily invest in our key policy initiatives and flagship projects such as Planting for Food and Jobs, stimulus package for distressed industries, One District, One Factory, Stone Good Development Fund, National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, Free SHS, National Identification Scheme, and National School Feeding Program. Mr. Speaker, we have prioritized investments in these areas to ensure that we establish a fair and inclusive society which creates life-transforming, productive opportunities for every able-bodied Ghanaian. We are confident that these priorities will not only deliver jobs, but will improve the security and well-being of Ghanaians and communities across the country by A, increasing agricultural growth and development, providing decent work through skill and entrepreneurship development and industrialization, as well as increasing opportunities for all through the provision of quality education and health delivery. Mr. Speaker, our policy priorities for 2018 and beyond promise two vital ingredients for any serious progressive society: opportunity and prosperity. For us, the fight against poverty and unemployment is not optional. It is a national security issue. We intend to pursue this goal of building a society of equal opportunity responsibly by protecting our natural endowments and at the same time adding value to the exploitation of these rich resources under our custody. Given that our President has been honored to co-chair the UN Advocacy Group for the Global Sustainable Development Goals, Ghana is taking a leadership role with this budget in driving this sustainable transformational agenda for the Ghanaian people and also for Africa. Mr. Speaker, for a successful implementation of the SDGs, we need to involve all sectors of society. Let us move beyond this budget cycle and make the SDGs flow through the DNA of Ghanaians in our effort to meet the 2030 targets and the embedded Paris Agreement for climate action. Mr. Speaker, the theme for the 2018 budget is putting Ghana back to work. This theme reflects the tools provided in the 2018 budget to energize the entrepreneurial spirit within every Ghanaian. The job of the Akufo-Addo government is to assist our people with the tools and the environment to go out there to work and earn a decent living and improve their lives. We plan on providing opportunities for as many Ghanaians as possible to initiate projects on their own. Mr. Speaker, it is time for Ghanaians to arise and build. Nehemiah. It is time for all Ghanaians who put their shoulders to the wheel and to speak the same language. Then nothing, Mr. Speaker, will be impossible for us. We must come together in a new partnership of our faith-based institutions, civil society, businesses, and government to create a powerful locomotive for transformation so that our President's coordinated program of economic and social development policies will create, as the President states, an optimistic, self-confident, and prosperous nation through the creative exploitation of our human and natural resources, and operating within a democratic, open, and fair society in which mutual trust and economic opportunities exist for all. Mr. Speaker, I believe that the budget should not simply be a statement to share the national cake between different groups, but it should capture how I believe the budget should not simply be a statement to divide the national cake between different groups, but it should capture how a nation comes together to meet the challenges of our times and our circumstances. We should understand our shared sociology and values in order to discover a modern view of our Ghanaian citizenship. Mr. Speaker, in August 1950, J.B. Dankwa said, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, he said, we had, it will be good to, we had neither excessive means to suffer waste, nor any time to wait. The call to relieve our country and people from a wretched existence is urgent, and our watchword in this urgency for an early answer. Mr. Speaker, we must, as a matter of urgency, create an enterprise culture so that we can transform our newfound stability into productive, industrialized, dynamic, open, and responsible market. A society that eschews poverty of aspirations and with deliberateness celebrates, prepares, and challenges the youth to discover and achieve their full potential. Mr. Speaker, this President seeks to do this in this budget. Mr. Speaker, our prudent